We got Gators breakdown here. We know we're business.
Gators breakdown. Because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
Well, there hasn't been too much of a dull moment on the recruiting trail for the Gators. That is for sure. Welcome to Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. And, well, for this one, it hasn't been dull because Florida gets another commitment from linebacker Malik Morris from the pipeline down in Lakeland. It strikes again here for the Gators, this time on the defensive side of the ball. So, of course, like we do for every commit, we'll talk about Malik Morris and get some analysis from the scouting departments out there on the recruiting services and out there on the Gator sites and good stuff. An anonymous source sent me their thoughts too. I mean, I know who it is, but I got to keep it anonymous for his sake. He wants me to keep it anonymous. So, but certainly connected in the recruiting world. Right there. So got a lot to share about Malik Morris right here on this episode of Gators Breakdown. So everybody hit that like button. I know you like getting another commit, one from Lakeland, another one in the state of Florida too. I mean, Gators like they should be recruiting the state of Florida right here with Malik Morris and getting that. So a lot to like about this. Hit that like button. It really, really helps us out. Leave some comments on this. Another commit here for the Gators. What you think about Morris? What you think about this run? Maybe more coming up in the coming days as well. All that good stuff. Just busy time in recruiting. Subscribe as well right here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform if you're listening like that. Now let's get to it. One more time. Reminder, Independent Gator Media Day presented by the Sachs Law Group. Gators Breakdown, High Top Sports Stadium in Gale will be there. Come say hello. Come hang out with us. July 27th, 2 p.m. at First Magnitude Brewing Company right there in Gainesville. Tickets about $25. Link is in the description. Live media panel. We'll have some special guests, Q&A session, meet and greet with players, and those players right now scheduled to appear are Vernell Brown III, Grayson Pup Howard, Jacoby Jackson, Jaden Robinson, Hilton Drake Stubbs, Trayon Webb, and Jaden Woods. We'd love to see you there. Link is in the description. One more time, come join us. Come have fun. Football season right around the corner. We're in July, about 20 days away from this event. Fall camp will be starting around that time. Football will be in the air in Gainesville Sunday, July 27th. Come hang out with us. And if you want to hang out some more, in the digital realm, Gators Breakdown Plus, that's a good spot to do so. That Discord chat, of course, they're talking a lot of recruiting there, a lot of DJ Lagway lately too, of all the talk of is he 100%, is he not 100%, all that stuff. We're discussing it right there on the Discord chat. Link is in the description. You get ad-free episodes of Gators Breakdown as well. And have those member chats. Gotta have another one of those coming up soon. I don't know if it'll be this week. Got a busy week. Got a stacked week coming up here on Gators Breakdown. Will Miles and I, if you're ready, if you want to get away from a little bit of recruiting talk, we're going to talk a little bit of football. We'll dive back into the preseason magazines. Will and I will on Tuesday, and then working on something else too. Probably will debut next week while I'm on vacation, but working on something else this week as well. Right here on Gators Breakdown, kind of. Hopefully expanding some coverage, more episodes coming your way. But we'll have somebody to help me out right there. So we'll see. But it's going to be a busy week. As I mentioned, kind of hinted at earlier. If you've been watching all these recruiting episodes, you know anyway. A couple more decisions coming up for some Gator targets as well. So there's a lot to get into. On the recruiting side of things. So all right, let's get into it. Let's get into the commitment of one Malik Morris, linebacker from Lakeland, committing to the Gators. Listed, now the size is what a lot of people have noticed about Malik Morris lately. On those visits, you've seen the pictures and, people were talking about, his weight and looking bigger than he should. We'll get into it right here. He's listed on the recruiting services, 6'1", 225 pounds. But I was told he weighed in at Florida about 270, 275. When he's on the visits and taking measurements and all that kind of stuff. And was told today now that he's down a little bit from that. And part of the reason, maybe the reason why, dealing with injury since the end of last season, had an injury to I think his knee, and then injured his pec, and that made him limited in the spring. So of course, not really involved, not really playing football down to down in the spring. So just, got to get that in order. Has to get healthy first, lose to all the weight he gained in the process. But a 4-star on the services right here. 24/7 Sports Composite ranks Morris as a 202nd overall player in the class of 2026 and the 12th ranked linebacker in the country and the 27th player in Florida. The On3 industry rankings currently have Morris ranked very similarly, with Morris checking in at 209, the 209th overall player on the On3 industry rankings, and the 13th linebacker in the country, the 30th best player in the state of Florida on 3. So Florida sees Morris as the might linebacker at that spot, due to his power and his physicality at the position. We'll take a look at some film here in just a second from him, but Morris chooses Florida over Miami and Texas A&M. Even some talk that Missouri might be making a run of late, but Florida have been trending for this one for quite a while now. Being from Lakeland, there always will be links to the Gator program, and Florida has been on him for a while. He's been on campus numerous times, making the short drive up. He was on campus twice this summer for an official and an unofficial visit. Last time, the Grill in the Ville weekend. So, look, there was some thought that Miami held an early lead in this recruitment. And then there's the Jay Bateman connection at Texas A&M, but Florida gets the job done here, gets their linebacker commit. He said, going back to his official visit, quote, "It solidified everything." When he said Florida being number 1 on his list after that official visit. "It solidified everything about where this place really stands with me. I've been here so many times, so I'm familiar with the whole staff. It doesn't get any better from here. Just the people themselves, the whole program, honestly, just the way they treat me. They set the bar high. If you want to beat Florida, you better come with it," in his quote. So, of course, Florida had been making their move for this one well before the official visit. He's been a top priority for the staff, a top priority in that area, oh so friendly to Florida down in Lakeland, and continuing that pipeline here. And definitely started hearing Morris's name a lot more when Isaiah Williams decommitted from Florida, and made this one even more critical to get, as it's hard to know what Williams would do in the end. Florida's still courting him, but this was one Florida was going to try to be getting no matter what anyway. But you didn't really start hearing Morris's name, as far as a reaction to, hey, what's Florida going to do at linebacker now that Isaiah Williams, one of the highest rated linebackers in the country, commits to Florida, decommits again from another school like Florida, and then commits to Ole Miss. So Florida's still courting him, but Morris was on the docket. Morris was on the big board anyway for this staff. So during the 2024 season, Morris recorded 95 tackles, 9 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. So with that, let's get into the film because, 95 tackles, 9 sacks, 3 forced fumbles for, a really good Lakeland program. Now, so I mentioned the source. He wishes to remain anonymous, but he gave this feedback on Malik Morris. Quote, "I see him as a true might linebacker with a clear path toward being a formidable run stopper in the SEC. He times snaps relatively well, can split interior gaps to make initial contact in the backfield. Malik is primarily a wrap and roll tackler, but will occasionally throw a shoulder or try to deliver a big hit. I can see him make a pass rush impact in green dog scenarios. Zone coverage development will be key for him, but I see potential future starter at inside linebacker." All right, let's move on to Corey Bender from Gators Online. Morris is a high IQ linebacker who brings physicality and fits the mold of what Florida wants at the second level. His tape shows a player who's going to get better and better. Morris plays with excellent instincts and rarely finds himself out of position. He diagnoses plays quickly, whether it's run or pass, and takes smart angles to the football. He consistently gets to the right spot before the play fully develops, allowing him to make stops behind or near the line of scrimmage. His awareness also shows up in zone coverage. He reads the quarterbacks well, anticipates throws, and gets depth while keeping plays in front of him. That kind of football IQ is hard to teach. One of Morris's trademarks is how physical he plays. He hits with real force, wraps up well, and finishes through contact. Whether he's meeting a ball carrier in the hole or tracking down a screen, he brings toughness every snap. He shows a nice burst when exploding through the line of scrimmage. Morris also doesn't lack size for the position. He's not afraid to take on blocks and can hold his ground when linemen climb to the second level. Where he can improve, while Morris is advanced in several areas, he can continue to develop athletically. There have been talks of him weighing north of 250 pounds, so that is somewhat of a concern as well. At the same time, though, much of that bad weight should come off easily once the pads go on in the heat. Additionally, while he's a reliable tackler, there are moments where cleaning up his pursuit angles and footwork in space could help limit extra yardage. Consistently driving through opponents with more force is another area of improvement. However, these are coachable, and Morris should have no problem improving. Leader of the defense, Morris plays with a confident, steady presence that projects well to the next level. He communicates, lines up his defense, and leads by example on the field. He's the type of player who could wear the green dot in the future. With his combination of instincts and toughness, Morris has the tools to contribute early and develop into a key piece in Florida's linebacker room. He's a huge in-state win for the Gators and a prospect who plays the game the way it is meant to be played. That from Corey Bender. And one more, Andrew Ivins of 24/7 Sports. Pit bull of a linebacker, says Andrew Ivins, that sees the game better than most his age as he breaches gaps and gets ball carriers to the ground. Extremely active in the box as he seeks and plays through contact, quick to read and diagnose with his eyes, and can swiftly change course if needed. Downhill charge has proven to be a headache for opposing running backs on Friday nights, but doesn't appear to be the type of athlete that's going to win every foot race. Owns more of a muscled up build at this stage, which could have him in the lineup sooner rather than later on Saturdays. However, does look to have some limitations with the frame as he isn't the longest front seven defender. Two-way snaps and multi-sport participation elevate an already exciting junior tape. Overall, should be viewed as a physical two-down inside linebacker that can rack up the tackles for a Power 4 program. Likely to be at his best in short yardage situations where he can ram his way into the backfield and help create chaos, as that has been the case the past few years for one of the Sunshine State's more respected high school programs. There you go. I mean, there's a lot to like there. And I mean, the first thing for me when you talk about a linebacker is instincts. I mean, how many times before this staff comes in with Florida trying to just fit guys, whoever they could, to go play linebacker? It didn't matter if they didn't play linebacker in high school. Florida's going to try and just go fit them in there anyway. No. I mean, once this staff has come in, it has been a clear mission to get guys who have played linebacker in high school, have those instincts, have the ability to play that position like it needs to be played, and recruit those guys and get them on the field. You know, no more fitting this guy there, fitting, Jaden Robinson and Miles Graham and Aaron Childs, getting Pup Howard from the transfer portal. I mean, it started right there. With that big haul and that great, I mean, we've seen it. That's just what you want to have at the linebacker spot. And there's no more just fitting guys there. We saw it way too much. Amari Burney, Derek Wingo. I mean, there's the recent ones that come to mind. Nothing against those guys, but man, it was just trying to fit guys there that just didn't have the instincts, or it was going to take them a while. I mean, Amari Burney, it took until his last season for him to, I think, to become a net positive player at that position. Derek Wingo great leader, great guy, but he didn't translate. The position change didn't translate for him at the linebacker spot. So Florida, has just done a much, much better job recruiting the position. And it starts right there with Malik, and ends, well, not ends, but continues. There's the word I'm looking for. Continues with Malik Morris right here. go to the last class. He's going to be part of a class that follows up. Ty Jackson, Miles Johnson from last cycle. But it's just been so much better recruiting at that spot than it has been since this staff came in. So this class, Morris is the 16th commit for the Gators. And yes, it's 16 again. It kind of stays at 16 if you listen to the last episode. Because, 16 again because J.J. Perez, the defensive lineman, the interior defensive lineman that we've been knowing was likely going to flip to Ohio State. It happened last Friday. So if you missed that, it happened. Florida's plug in the middle on this defensive line that came in early in May did follow all the rumors, follow all the speculation, follow the pretty obvious move that was going to happen of the Ohio kid going to Ohio State. I mean, look, it's kind of the similar situation here with Malik Morris. It's a pipeline school for Ohio State where he played. So I always thought it was going to be hard to hang on if Ohio State pushed. It did. It happened. So Florida's at 16 commits. So the Gators are 15th in the 24/7 Sports Composite team rankings with 11 4-stars and 5 3-stars. With an average rating of 91.08, the Gators class ranks 9th in average rating. 91.8, top 10 in that category. All right, so we look ahead, as we always do right here. Before we wrap it up, Florida should be adding another linebacker to the class pretty soon. IMG, let's go there, for DQ Forkpa, the 4-star. He recently announced a July 12th commitment date, of course, and he will decide between Florida, Florida State, Miami, and Michigan. Florida State look to be the front runners here. If I had to pick right now, about 4 days before his commitment, got the Gators with a slight lead, holding the edge right here. Add him to Malik Morris. I mean, Forkpa, you're talking about the power that Malik Morris brings. Well, Forkpa brings the speed to the position. 4.44 40-yard dash at 6'5", 225. So great size. 4.44 40-yard dash, 6 foot, 225. So there's your mover at the spot. And you got Malik Morris with the power at the spot. All right, so let's stay on defense for Florida's next possible commit. Forkpa could be the next linebacker commit, and that's pretty soon. But let's go to a day before. For the next possible commit overall, 4-star edge Kevin Ford from Texas will decide on Friday. And then since his official visit, Florida's kind of been in a great spot here. It's a Florida, Ohio State, Texas A&M battle with it likely coming down to the Gators and Buckeyes. I know a lot of people feeling good Florida right now. I feel good Florida right now. But you never, ever count out Ohio State in any recruitment. We know they have a lot of success in the state of Florida. This isn't even an in-state guy. You got to go to Texas for Kevin Ford. And doesn't look like it's going to be in-state Texas A&M. It looks like a Florida-Ohio State battle with Florida right now trending as the leader. But you don't count out the Buckeyes. So it's time for Florida to go flex a little and go get this one done. And then let's go back to July 12th. That's when Forkpa was going to make his decision. I went with him first, so we were staying at the linebacker spot. Then I wanted to stay on defense and the next decision coming up for big-time target Kevin Ford at the edge spot. But let's go back to July 12th. Let's go to the tight end position. Up the road in Brunswick, Georgia, Heasy Kent. He's deciding. Still hearing it's a good look for Florida as of now. Miami, Florida State, Texas are in this one as well. And Kent, let's go back to the storyline here at tight end. Could be part of a 3 tight end class with the already committed Kakua Amua from IMG. And then Florida looking to flip Tennessee commit Carson Sneed. So three more decisions coming up. think Florida's looking good for them. All three of them right now. But we know how fast all this can change. Know how fast it can unchange. It's just the nature of the beast right now. Hopefully Texas Tech doesn't come in. With their recent spending spree. We'll see where that one goes. But there we go. There we go. So before I wrap up here, we'll kind of stay a little bit on recruiting. I want to help some friends out down south. Down in South Florida, we'll go. Special event coming up. The Crib Classic. Help out some friends down there. It's a grassroots football initiative presented by Beyond the Goalpost, a nonprofit dedicated to using football as a means to helping young athletes prepare for life and give back to their respective communities. It'll be hosting the Crib Classic 7-on-7 Invitational on July 12th at Christopher Columbus High School and the Crib Classic Open 7-on-7 tournament at Somerset Academy, Silver Palms on July 13th, both of which will feature top high schools in South Florida competing for cash prize donations to their football programs. Some of the players competing include Derek Cooper, Dia Bell, Justice Fitzpatrick. And if you'll go to the Florida outlook on this, that'll peek into the future a little bit. Quite a few players with offers from Florida who will be participating. The 2027 and 2028 outlook for Florida recruiting will be important for the likes of the guys that will be there of Amos Bradford, Trey Proctor, Kenton Dobson, and Amir Sears, all those guys competing. And then fast forward a little bit to July 26th at Ives Estates Park. There will be the first ever Crib Classic Combine. Names like Dia Bell, Calvin Russell, Julius Jones, other blue chip players will be in attendance to get verified times and measurables. So if you can make the track down south, or if you're already down there, good event coming up this weekend. For the teams competing on that July 12th, that'd be the 7-on-7 Invitational. Shamadan Madonna, True North, Plantation, Monarch, American Heritage, West Broward, Atlantic, Columbus, Miami Central, Miami Norland, Miami Edison, Cardinal Newman, and you have MacArthur, Matter, South Ridge, Palmetto. Stacked event down there in South Florida. CribClassic.com for more details and information right there. But hey, if you want to, if you're down in South Florida, spend some time outside, see some hopefully future Gators, but some future stars for sure, especially down there in South Florida, but future college football stars. CribClassic.com for more information. All right, guys, that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown, breaking down the commitment of linebacker from Lakeland, Malik Morris. Everybody, thanks for hopping on this episode of Gators Breakdown. Busy week, hopefully coming up with all the future commitments, future decisions, hopefully future commitments. We'll be here for it. We'll be here for it. So, like I said, Will Miles and I definitely getting back, talking pure football in the preseason magazine form. What they have to say about the Gators, draft prospects, players to watch, whether we agree or disagree with some of that stuff. Pretty interesting as far as, I think it was Lindy's who put a draft list together for Florida, the top 5. One might surprise you. A little bit of tease. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I am your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me on this episode of Gators Breakdown.